The rain had stopped, but the church steps were still slick with water. I stood there in my simple black dress, a $40 fine from Target, watching the parade of designer suits and expensive cars arriving for my mother's funeral. My hands trembled, not from the cold October air, but from the letter folded in my pocket, the one that had arrived yesterday from Mom's lawyer. Absolutely not. My sister Victoria's voice cut through the morning like a blade. She stood at the church entrance in her $3,000 St. Laurent dress, flanked by our other sister, Cassandra, whose Hermes bag probably cost more than my car. "What do you mean?" I asked, though I knew exactly what was coming. "Look at you," Victoria sneered, her perfectly veneered teeth gleaming. "You look like you raided a clearance rack. This is our mother's funeral, Amelia. Have some respect. I'm wearing black. I'm covered appropriately. What's the problem?" Cassandra stepped forward, her Louboutins clicking on the stone. "The problem is that important people are here. Dad's business associates, Mom's charity board friends, the Witherspoons, the Astors. And you look like a kindergarten teacher?" I suggested, because that's what I was. What I'd chosen to be, despite their constant disappointment. "Exactly," Victoria said, missing the irony entirely. "You're embarrassing the family. You've always been an embarrassment, but today of all days." No. Behind them, I could see other mourners starting to notice the commotion. My Aunt Patricia whispered to her husband. A few of Mom's society friends clutched their pearls, probably wondering what drama the Morrison sisters were creating now. "I'm here to say goodbye to our mother," I said quietly. "She wouldn't care what I'm wearing." Victoria laughed, a harsh sound that echoed off the church walls. Mother cared about appearances more than anyone. She'd be mortified. "Do you know what she used to say about you? My biggest failure. That's what she called you. Her kindergarten teacher daughter who threw away every opportunity." The words stung, even though I'd heard variations of them for years. When I turned down law school to get my teaching degree, when I'd moved to the inner city to teach at an underfunded school instead of marrying Richard Worthington II, when I'd shown up to family events in clothes from Target instead of Bergdorf Goodman. "Just leave," Cassandra said, checking her diamond-encrusted watch. "The service starts in 20 minutes. Go home, change into something decent if you even own anything decent, and maybe we'll let you sit in the back." "I'm not leaving." Victoria's face hardened. "Then we'll have security escort you out." Yes, we hired security. "We need to try something like this." "Something like what?" "Attending my mother's funeral?" "Attending while looking like poverty incarnate," Victoria spat. "What would people think? That we don't take care of our own? That the Morrison family has fallen so low that one of us shops at discount stores?" I saw the security guards moving closer, two large men in black suits who looked uncomfortable with the situation but ready to follow orders. The church entrance was completely blocked now, my sister standing shoulder to shoulder, a wall of designer fabric and disdain. "Please," I said, hating the pleading in my voice. She was my mother too. "Then you should have acted like her daughter when she was alive," Cassandra said coldly, "instead of constantly disappointing her with your choices. Teaching snot-nosed brats for pennies, living in that horrible apartment, refusing every opportunity for advancement she offered. 20 years, Victoria added. 20 years of watching you waste your potential, and now you want to waste our time too? I don't think so." More people had gathered, the cream of New York society, watching this unfold like a particularly salacious Broadway show. I recognized faces from the society pages, from charity galas I'd been forced to attend over the years. All of them staring, whispering, judging. That's when I saw him. Marcus Pemberton, Mom's lawyer, pushing through the crowd with his assistant trailing behind. He was supposed to meet with us after the funeral for the will reading, but something in his expression suggested plans had changed. "Ladies," he said formally, then looked directly at me. "Ms. Morrison, I apologize for the timing, but given the circumstances, I believe this needs to be addressed immediately." Victoria rolled her eyes. "Marcus, we're about to begin the service. Whatever legal matters you have can wait until after." "I'm afraid not," Marcus said firmly, "especially considering you're currently bearing a primary beneficiary from attending." The words hung in the air like a challenge. Victoria's confident smirk faltered slightly. "What are you talking about?" Cassandra demanded. Marcus pulled out a thick envelope. "Your mother amended her will 6 months ago. She was quite specific about her wishes." He looked at me again. Ms. Amelia Morrison is the sole beneficiary of the entire estate. The silence was deafening. I felt my knees go weak, but I stayed standing, clutching my discount store purse like a lifeline. That's impossible, Victoria said, her voice rising. Check again. There's been a mistake. No mistake? Marcus assured her. The houses in the Hamptons, Manhattan, and Aspen, the investment portfolio, the company's shares, the liquid assets, everything. Approximately $30 million in total value. All left to Amelia. Cassandra grabbed the document from Marcus's hands, scanning it frantically. This is fraud. Mother wasn't in her right mind. We'll contest this. Your mother was evaluated by 3 separate physicians before making these changes, Marcus said calmly. She was of completely sound mind. She also left video testimony explaining her decision, which I'll be happy to play at the formal reading. Victoria had gone pale beneath her perfectly applied makeup. But I'm the eldest. I'm the one who went to Harvard Law. I'm the one who joined the family business. And I'm the one who married into the Vanderbilt family, Cassandra added desperately. I'm the one who gave her grandchildren to carry on the family name. Marcus cleared his throat. Your mother left each of you a specific bequest. Victoria, you received the photograph of yourself from your Harvard graduation. Cassandra, you get your wedding portrait. She said you'd understand the significance. I understood. Those were the only times Mom had been proud of them, the achievements they'd thrown in my face for years. As for the rest, Marcus continued, Mrs. Morrison was clear. She said, and I quote, my daughter Amelia is the only one who understood what truly mattered. While her sisters chased money and status, she chased purpose. She taught children who needed her. She lived simply by choice, not circumstance. She showed me that wealth isn't measured in designer labels or society connections, but in the lives you touch. Victoria's face contorted with rage. This is your fault, she hissed at me. You manipulated her. Played the poor, noble teacher to make us look bad. I didn't know, I said quietly, and it was true. The letter in my pocket, I thought it was just final words, maybe a small bequest. Not this. But there's more, Marcus said, and something in his tone made everyone freeze. The reason I needed to address this now, before the service. Mrs. Morrison left specific instructions about the funeral itself. He pulled out another document. She specified that anyone who showed judgment, cruelty, or condescension based on appearance or status was to be barred from her funeral. She wrote, I spent too many years caring about the wrong things, judging the wrong things. I won't have that poison at my final goodbye. He looked pointedly at Victoria and Cassandra. I believe your treatment of your sister just now falls squarely within those parameters. You can't be serious, Cassandra gasped. Security, Marcus called, and the same guards my sisters had hired stepped forward. Please escort Mrs. Victoria Hammond and Mrs. Cassandra Vanderbilt off the premises. This is insane, Victoria screamed. That's our mother in there. A mother you failed to understand, Marcus said coldly, just as you failed to understand your sister. As security moved toward them, Cassandra made one last desperate attempt. Amelia, please. We're sisters. We're family. I looked at them, really looked at them. Beneath the designer clothes and expensive jewelry, I saw something I'd never noticed before. Fear. They were terrified. Not of losing the money, but of losing the identity that came with it. You were so worried I'd embarrass the family, I said quietly. But you just embarrassed yourselves. And worse, you embarrassed Mom's memory by trying to gatekeep her funeral based on designer labels. Victoria's mask finally cracked completely. Do you know what I gave up for that money? I work 80-hour weeks. I gave up having children because Mom said pregnancy would slow my career. I did everything she asked. That's the difference, I said. You did what she asked. I did what was right. Security escorted them away, their designer heels clicking frantically on the stone as they protested, threatened lawsuits, promised revenge. The gathered crowd parted like the Red Sea, some following the drama, others quickly filing into the church to claim their seats for what was clearly going to be the social event of the season. Marcus turned to me. There's one more thing. Your mother left a personal letter to be given to you before the service. He handed me an envelope, different from the one in my pocket. My hands shook as I opened it. My dearest Amelia. If you're reading this, then Marcus has had to enforce my funeral wishes. I'm sorry. I know that must have been painful, watching your sisters turned away. But they needed to learn the lesson I learned too late, that love isn't transactional, that worth isn't measured in dollars, that the only approval that matters is your own. You were never my failure, darling. You were my only success. Because while I taught Victoria and Cassandra to chase wealth, you somehow learned to chase joy. While I pushed them towards status, you ran towards service. You became everything I was too afraid to be. The money I'm leaving you isn't a reward. You never needed rewards. It's freedom. Freedom to expand your teaching, to help more children, to live the generous life I was too selfish to live. But here's my final secret, the one not even Marcus knows. The homeless woman you've been buying lunch for every Friday at the corner near your school. The one you talk to about books and life and dreams. That's your Aunt Caroline. My sister. I cut her off 40 years ago when she chose love over money, just like you did. She knows who you are. She's watched you for years, reporting back to me about your kindness, your genuine heart. She's the reason I changed my will. She showed me who you really were when you thought no one was watching. She'll be at the funeral, in the front row, wearing whatever she chooses, because that's what family does. They show up as they are, not as the world expects them to be. All my love, Mom. P.S. Check your coat pocket. I had Marcus put something there while you were reading this. I reached into my pocket with trembling fingers and pulled out a small velvet box. Inside was Mom's wedding ring, not the massive diamond she wore to impress society, but the simple gold band my father had given her when they were young and poor and in love. The one she'd hidden away after he died, after she'd remarried for money and status. She wanted you to know, Marcus said softly, that she remembered who she used to be. Before the money changed her, you reminded her of that person. I looked up to see a woman approaching, elderly, wearing a faded dress and worn shoes, but with eyes exactly like Mom's. Aunt Caroline. She smiled at me, a real smile full of warmth and shared secrets. You ready, sweetie? She asked, offering her arm. Your mom asked me to walk you in, said it was time to stop hiding family because they didn't fit the image. I took her arm, and together we walked into the church. The whispers followed us, but I didn't care. I was wearing a $40 dress from Target. My aunt was wearing clothes from a shelter, and we were the richest people in the room. During the service, I sat in the front row with Caroline, surrounded by empty seats where my sister should have been. But slowly, others joined us. My fellow teachers, who'd taken personal days to attend. The parents of children I taught, some in their work uniforms because they'd come straight from their jobs. The secretary from my school. The janitor who always saved the best supplies for my classroom. My family, my real family, the ones Victoria and Cassandra would never understand were worth more than all the society connections in the world. After the service, as people filed out, many stopped to whisper congratulations or condolences, already calculating how to curry favor with the new Morrison Harris. I ignored them all, focused on the woman beside me who'd spent 40 years on the streets rather than bow to my mother's demands. So, Caroline said with a wry smile, "What are you going to do with all that money?" I thought about it, about the school that needed new computers, about the breakfast program we couldn't afford, about the after-school center that was about to close, about the brilliant students who couldn't afford college. Change lives, I said. The same thing I've always done, just with a bigger budget. She squeezed my hand. Your mother would be proud. The real her, not the one she pretended to be. Outside, I saw Victoria and Cassandra standing by their cars, mascara running, still screaming at lawyers on their phones. They looked broken, lost like children who just discovered Santa wasn't real. I felt sorry for them. All those years chasing Mom's approval, never realizing the price of that approval was their souls. Marcus appeared at my elbow. The formal will reading is Monday. But if you need anything before then. Actually, I said, watching my sisters set up trust funds for Victoria's future children and Cassandra's kids. College funds. But with one stipulation. The money can only be used for education, not trust fund lifestyles. He raised an eyebrow. That's generous, considering. My mother left me $30 million because I understood what mattered, I said. It would be pretty hypocritical if I forgot that lesson now. He nodded and made a note. Anything else? The houses. I want to convert them. The Hampton estate becomes a summer camp for inner-city kids. The Aspen House, a retreat for teachers. The Manhattan Penthouse, I smiled. That becomes transitional housing for families getting back on their feet. And where will you live? I thought about my little apartment with its leaky faucet and temperamental heating. The place my sisters mocked, but where I've been happier than they ever been in their mansions. Right where I am, I said. Maybe I'll fix the faucet, though. As we walked to the parking lot, Caroline told me stories about my mother before the money, before the bitterness. A woman who'd loved freely, laughed easily, and worn whatever made her comfortable. A woman who'd gotten lost somewhere between poverty and prosperity. She found her way back in the end, Caroline said. Thanks to you. I didn't do anything special. That's exactly what you did, she corrected. You didn't do anything special. You just lived according to your values. In this family, that made you a revolutionary. My phone buzzed with a text from Victoria. This isn't over. I deleted it without responding. It was over. The chase for approval, the competition for affection, the measuring of worth by net worth. All of it was done. I drove away from the church in my 10-year-old Honda, wearing my Target dress, carrying the weight of $30 million and the freedom to use it for good. Behind me, my sisters plodded in their luxury cars, already counting legal fees for a battle they'd never win. They still didn't understand. Mom hadn't left me the money because I was the best daughter. She'd left it because I was the only one who'd never wanted it. That's the thing about inheritance. Sometimes the greatest gift a parent can leave isn't wealth or property or status. Sometimes it's the permission to be exactly who you are. Designer labels be damned. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, they leave you the means to help others discover the same thing. As I pulled into traffic, I passed the corner where I usually met Caroline, or Aunt Caroline, as I now knew her. The corner where I'd bought lunch for a homeless woman every Friday for 3 years, never knowing she was reporting back to my mother about the daughter who'd chosen kindness over ambition. I keep buying her lunch. Every Friday, designer dress or Target special, $30 million or $30. Because that's what you do for family. The real kind.